In college football, winning the quarterback battle is everything. How many times are the Aggies going to win it this season?
You are Locked On Aggies, your daily podcast on the Texas A&M Aggies, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome on into Locked On Aggies. I'm your host, Andrew Stefaniak. Thanks for making Locked On Aggies your first listen every single day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, one of the more important aspects of college football is winning the quarterback battle. How often are the Aggies going to win the quarterback battle this season? That is going to be the conversation we have today. We're also going to talk about where Texas A&M ended up in the coaches poll. I was impressed and excited with that ranking. We'll discuss in a little bit. And Notre Dame suffered a key injury. We'll talk about that, a season-ending injury. We will discuss that at the tail end of the show today. But let's get right on into it. I mean, obviously, we're not going to talk about the smaller games. We're talking about the 9 super important games with the quarterback battle. And first of all, the first game here is Notre Dame. And listen, we just got done talking about Notre Dame. Notre Dame fans have been active in that. It's been really fun hearing everyone's thoughts and all that. It's been a fun kind of conversation. Man, this one is tough. And you've got to understand, if you're new to the show, if you haven't tuned in before, I'm a huge Connor Weigman fan. I believe he is going to have an absolutely monstrous season. I believe the college football world doesn't really know who Connor Weigman is yet because of the injuries he suffered, because of the fact that he just really hasn't, had the opportunity to play a lot of college football with the different injuries he's had, with the injury he's had, and then with not playing all that many games as a freshman. We really don't know who Connor Weigman is yet. But I know who he is, and I think that Texas A&M fans and coaches and the staff know who he is. I don't think the college football world knows who he is yet, but he's really good. The NFL scouts know who he is, and that's why he's a player that something could be taken in the first round this year. So you have to understand that while we haven't seen it proven yet, other than a handful of games, Connor Weigman is a really good quarterback who can have a monstrous season. Simple as that. First game, the matchup with Notre Dame. I have this being equal. I like Riley Leonard a lot. He seems like a great dude on top of being a great football player. Coach Elko, I think, really liked his former quarterback and still really likes his former quarterback. And it is going to be funny to hear the dynamic between those two. I mean, they're going to want to compete. They had a great relationship. So that's going to be really interesting. But I think this is equal. And if you ask 50 people, I think 37 of them would tell you that they're taking Riley Leonard in this debate. So I'm probably in the minority on this, having it to say it's equal. In all honesty, if I had a choice, if you said I could have Connor Weigman or Riley Leonard, I would rather have Connor Weigman as Texas A&M's quarterback. I would. Or as my quarterback in general. I would take Connor Weigman. I think he has a higher upside. I think he has a higher ceiling. I think they're both great players. I think for the sake of being, fair and on this, I think you have to say this is a wash to me. A lot of people are going to lean Leonard here. But this is one of those games where there's a lot of position groups where both teams struggle or both teams are great. And quarterback is going to be, as it is in every game, but in this game especially, is going to be something that really decides this football game. So I have that quarterback matchup there as equal. Then is the matchup with Florida and Graham Mertz. And I'll tell you this, once again, Florida Gator fans, I hate to say it, I am taking Connor Weigman. I am. Graham Mertz is a good college football quarterback. He is. He's a good college quarterback. Is he ever going to be an elite quarterback? Is he ever going to take that next step from good player, game manager, can win you a game here and there, to, wow, Graham Mertz is a really, really, really good quarterback? I don't think he does. And I think Connor Weigman this season can take that step from solid college quarterback to elite player with a high NFL upside. I think you see Connor take that step this season. I think Connor Weigman is a better quarterback than Graham Mertz. That's just the reality here. Once again, if I am starting a new college football team and you offer me Graham Mertz, Riley Leonard, or Connor Weigman, I'm taking Connor Weigman. Now, I think these are the closest arguments. I think those two. There's one we're going to get to a little bit later that's close as well, but I think these two are the toughest when it comes to who's going to win that quarterback battle. Now, this game against Florida is a road game, so Mertz is going to have a leg up. He's playing at home. He's playing in front of an energized crowd. Energized, whatever. You know what I'm about. Energized. What? Gosh. Vocabulary, ladies and gentlemen, it can really hurt you. It is hard sometimes to speak. But, in a crowd like that, in the swamp, with all the energy surrounding that team, it's going to be, you're going to have to give the benefit of the doubt there to Graham Mertz. But I think that Connor Weigman's better quarterback. Moving on to Arkansas, this isn't really a debate to me. I think that Connor Weigman's better than Taylor Green. I think Taylor Green's a solid quarterback. I think he could maybe turn some heads with Petrino. You never know, but still, I'm taking Connor Weigman there without much debate at all. Then Missouri, Brady Cook. This one, to me, it's not a wide margin, but I'll give the benefit of the doubt here to Brady Cook. I think that I do consider him to be a game manager. I don't consider him to be an elite quarterback, but I think he's a good player, and you got Luther Burden, man. And when you have Luther Burden, you're in a really, really good spot. So, I think that is why I give Brady Cook the advantage there, but I don't think it's by a super wide margin. Mississippi State, I'm taking Connor Weigman over Blake Shapen. Once again, I think that he's a solid quarterback. I think he's right there with Taylor Green, a solid quarterback, a good player. Even on the road, I'm taking Connor Weigman to win this quarterback battle head-to-head against Blake Shapen. I just don't think he's this elite player. The one that's really interesting to me is Nussmeier. I think Nussmeier of LSU, Grant Nussmeier, and Connor Weigman have a lot of similarities because I think that both of them are really good quarterbacks with really high upsides, and we haven't seen a ton of either of them. So I think this is a fun debate to have. Which of these guys would you rather have? I think it's close. I think it's a really close race. I do. I think this one's equal. And I think because here's the deal. I would take Nussmeier and Connor Weigman over Leonard, over Mertz, over everybody we've discussed so far, except for maybe Cook. I think that Nussmeier is a great quarterback with a really high upside. I'm anxious to see what he does this year. So I think that one's pretty equal there. Lenore Sellers, I think he's great for South Carolina. I like his upside. I think he's a great player. I think he's going to turn some heads. I really do. But I am still taking Connor Weigman in that race there. Auburn, Peyton Thorne, once again, not a debate. Thorne's a veteran. I think he's going to have a better year than he did a year ago, but I'm still taking Connor Weigman over Peyton Thorne. I don't think there's much debate there. Quinn Ewers, I'm taking Quinn Ewers. I do think if you asked me about NFL upside, I'm taking Connor Weigman. I am. If you talk about this year in college football, I'm taking Quinn Ewers. I think that Connor Weigman is the better quarterback. I do. But I think that this year, Quinn Ewers has more experience in the college game, having play. I'm gonna lean toward Quinn Ewers here. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt there. But once again, don't sleep on Connor Weigman in any of these battles. So that means I think you're equal with Leonard. You beat Mertz. You beat Green. You beat Shapen. You beat Sellers, and you beat Thorne. So I think you only lose to Cook and Ewers. So that's 5-2, in 2, because I have it being equal against Riley Leonard and equal against Nussmeier. So that is how this kind of shapes itself out. But let me know y'all's thoughts. Is there a quarterback battle you think the Aggies win, Connor Weigman wins, that I don't have him down for, one that they lose that you think I have him down for a win? Let me know that in the YouTube comments. We're going to talk about the coaches poll. Where did the Aggies end up? And once again, I was pretty excited about it. We're going to talk about that coming up right here on Locked On Aggies. It's my favorite part of the day. It is time for me to tell y'all about Game Time. Game Time is the only place anybody should ever be purchasing a ticket to anything. I absolutely love the Game Time app. It is so easy to use. They have the best prices. I love how when I'm going to buy a ticket to an event I want to go to, I can see what my seat looks like, because that does often change my opinion on where I'm going to want to sit. I love that feature of the Game Time app. It is the best place to get your tickets. You shouldn't be buying them anywhere else. Take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKDOWNCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. So the Aggies were ranked 20th in the coaches poll. And I'll tell you, I think that's a really solid ranking. And the reason that gets me personally so fired up is because I think that coaches, coaches who we're talking about, these are the people that you need to trust. You need to trust their opinions. You need to trust what they have to say. I think coaches really like Texas A&M. I think Texas A&M is going to have a better season than many give them credit for. Y'all know that. I've given my take on that. That's no surprise. If you listen to the show every day, you know that I believe that Texas A&M is better than people are giving them credit for. But, I mean, this means that the coaches believe that in year 1 under Coach Elko, where he doesn't even have a full recruiting class of his own yet, he believes this is a top 20 team in college. I mean, they believe this is a top 20 team in college football. That's really exciting to me. So we'll get deeper into what this means. I want to run through some of the other teams. So SEC teams, you got Georgia ranked 1st, Texas ranked 4th, Bama ranked 5th, Ole Miss 6th. You got Missouri 11th, LSU 12th, Tennessee 15th, Oklahoma 16th, and then, of course, Texas A&M is 20th. So how many is that? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, 1, 2, 3. Oh, goodness. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Is that right? No shot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. 9 SEC teams. I had different things. I want to clear that up. I was not struggling to count. I can count, believe it or not. I just had a lot of different things, different places I wanted to make sure. And I have Notre Dame mixed in there where they're ranked. So that's what happened there. But 9 SEC teams in the top 25 of this is absurd. And then you had teams like Kentucky and Auburn receiving votes. So, I mean, there's some teams right outside of the top 25. The SEC is going to be a gauntlet this year. But, ladies and gentlemen, let me let you in on a little secret. The SEC is always going to be a gauntlet. It's never not going to be a gauntlet because it is the best conference in college football. So I look at this and my immediate reaction, my immediate thoughts, my immediate reaction to this, once again, like I said, is A, the SEC is great, and B, teams and coaches respect Texas A&M. I will always trust coaches' opinions over anybody in the media, over anybody anywhere, any talking head talking about football. When a coach says this, that is my number one. I trust this. We've been saying, my guess was that Texas A&M was going to be somewhere. Now, this was in my guess for the AP poll, but in that 22 to 25 range. I was expecting them to be ranked. I was not expecting them to be 20th in this coaches poll. I was expecting them to be on it, either one of the last few spots or the receiving votes category. But the coaches seem to think the Aggies are going to be a pretty good football team. And once again, the reason that I like this, the reason this gets me excited, I know that I see people comment this all the time, and I don't disagree with you, but I see people comment and say, I wish we weren't ranked. I wish we were kind of under the radar. I wish people weren't expecting us to be good. I wish no one saw this coming. And I don't disagree with you. I don't think that is not in any way a bad take. I fully agree with that. My thoughts are, it shows that people are respecting this football team. People believe this team can maybe, just maybe, overachieve a little bit. And, that's kind of why I am excited by this. But the other thing to pay attention to here is this. You've got to remember that you've got 4 teams that you play ahead of you. Notre Dame is 7. I didn't say it yet because I was talking about the SEC. You've got 4 teams that you play ahead of you. You got Texas at 4. You got Notre Dame at 7. You got Missouri at 11 and LSU at 12. You don't play Georgia or Bama or Ole Miss or Tennessee or Oklahoma. So you got 4 opponents that are above you. And I mean, so think about that. That means that realistically, you are going to play 8 teams that coaches don't think are as good as you. And then you're going to play 4 teams that are going to be pretty solid. But once again, as we've broken down time and time again here at Locked On Aggies, all 4 of those games are being played at home at Kyle Field in front of the best atmosphere in college football. And that is exciting to me. I mean, all these games are at home. You beat the teams that you're better than according to these coaches, and you take care of business. In one of these games you're maybe not supposed to win. Hey, you know what I mean? Now we're talking. We're seriously talking here. And I think that is a really exciting takeaway from this for me. So I was happy with where Texas A&M was ranked in the coaches poll. I really do want to hear y'all's thoughts on this. I know some might be more enthused, less enthused about this. It gets me a little bit fired up. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, we really are. What's the countdown now? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 days away from Texas A&M playing Notre Dame. Wow. When you're watching it, it'll be a day less because I'm recording this on Tuesday. But you get my point. Like, that is so exciting. I cannot believe it. I mean, seriously, like, the Aggies are playing a football game against a really good team here in a few days. It's getting exciting. We're getting there. It's time for this team to finish everything up. Let's dial it in. We got to figure out who's going to start. We got to figure out who's going to be out there. We got to figure out rotations. We got to continue learning the playbook. There's a lot still to be done for this football team in these next 25, 26, whatever days. There's a lot left to be done, but it's all doable, and this team's going to be really good. And this coaches poll, those of you who listen to this show every single day, you every day is here Locked On Aggies, you know that I am a believer in this football team. I'm a believer that they can overachieve. I'm a believer that many aren't talking positively enough about this Texas A&M football team. So I'm really excited by where this team was ranked because I think it proves what I've been saying all along. This team is good. Coaches believe it. This team can overachieve, so I'm fired up. But let me know, like I said, in the YouTube comments, y'all's thoughts on where Texas A&M was ranked in the coaches poll. Are you happy by it? Do you wish they'd have been in the others receiving votes? So maybe, you know what I mean, there's not that whole preseason hype. Let me know y'all's thoughts on that in the YouTube comments. Really curious to hear that. Notre Dame suffered a really, really unfortunate injury to one of their key players. We're going to talk about that and what it means for their matchup with the Aggies coming up right here on Locked On Aggies. Notre Dame lost their starting left tackle. I want to get his name correct here. It is Charles. This is a tough one. Jagusah. That's a cool name. That's a really cool name. But he is out for the year. I believe it was a chest injury. Let me figure out the Is it chest injury? Doesn't say. Doesn't really matter. But upper body injury. So first of all, before we talk about this and what it means for this football game, absolutely devastated for this young man. Last year they had, I think his name was Joe Alt. I know his last name was Alt. I think his first name was Joe, but the player, I believe, is with the Chargers now. He's first round pick. So this dude's getting his opportunity. I feel really bad for this young man. It's really sad, unfortunate. Best of luck to him, whatever the full injury is. The road to recovery there, buddy. We're wishing nothing but the best for you over here at Texas A&M. But this is going to have implications on this football game. So even here in this article from Notre Dame Fighting Irish on SI, it says Notre Dame's weakness versus Texas A&M strengths became more real. Even before the injury, one of the dominant narratives leading into the massive Notre Dame versus Texas A&M game, Week 1 matchup, or Texas A&M Week 1 matchup, was the notion that the strength of the Aggie team was their defensive front, and the biggest question mark for Notre Dame was their offensive line, and this was before the injury. Now that the Irish will have to shift their already unproven line plans around to accommodate for this brutal break, this narrative moves to a forefront even more. There's no sugarcoating it. Left tackle is the most important position on the line, and the Irish just lost its potential star for the entire year. Can Notre Dame withstand this and rise to victory on August 31st? So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, this is a huge, huge blow for the Fighting Irish. In this football game, and somebody commented today, hey, do like a position by position breakdown. We're going to do that when we get a little bit closer to the game. I want that to be it won't be a week before, but it'll be the week before the week before. We'll probably do that on like Thursday or Friday. Probably like 9-10 days to game day. But looking at this injury, just as this article said, Texas A&M strength is their defensive line. It sounds like one of the weaknesses of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish team is their offensive line. Very similar to Texas A&M. And it's funny because one of the strengths of Notre Dame is their defensive line. So we're going to see when it comes to defensive line and offensive line, it's going to be strength on weakness for both teams. But as much as we hate it for this young man, this is huge for Texas A&M, knowing Nick Scorton, Shamar Turner, Shamar Stewart, these defensive linemen can get after the quarterback now, and there's one less solid offensive lineman there to stop them. So this is a break for Texas A&M, knowing that they have one less really solid offensive lineman trying to stop those defensive linemen from getting after Riley Leonard. So it's a blow for them. It really is a blow for them. And this is injuries were never a good thing, but this helps Texas A&M. So that'll be interesting to see what ends up happening at offensive line. How does this shift work for Notre Dame? They don't have much time to figure this out. So that is definitely going to be a huge narrative heading into this football game coming up here, like I said, in just a little over 3 weeks. That is going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Aggies. Thank y'all so much for being here every single day. Really, really, really appreciate y'all. Hope everyone has an outstanding rest of their day today, and we'll see you tomorrow right here on Locked On Aggies.